class 11. Welcome to the online tutorial sessions for economics. Today we are going to continue our third chapter in the statistics for economics, which is collection of data. In the previous video we had done the various sources of data. Today we are going to continue with the methods of collecting primary data. In the previous video we had completed the primary data and secondary data, but today we are going to do with the methods of collection of primary data. So let's start with the first method, which is direct personal interview. Now, under this direct personal interview, the investigator, the person who investigates, the person who does the statistical inquiry, collects data. He collects data by having a direct contact. He directly meets the person who has the information. So it is also called the on-the-spot investigation or on-the-spot interview. Therefore, investigator collects the data by having direct contact with the informant or respondent. So it is done. This direct personal interview is done where the area of investigation is limited. Suppose there are only 5 persons who have the information. So the investigator will personally meet them on the spot and will collect the data. Take an example of police report. What they do? They personally meet all the witnesses. So in that case, direct personal interview. And the investigation area is also limited. There are very few people so that you can meet them personally. Now, what are the merits? First of all, the content is original, more reliable, because you have personally dealt with the person, so it is more reliable, and the person is giving you the information on your face, so it is original. Therefore, it is also more accurate and is uniform, because you are the one who is writing down all the information. So from each and every person you will mark down in a very uniform manner, so that each and every aspect is collected, and those activities are in a very uniform manner. Suppose you are asking the name, age and date of birth, so all the person will be giving the same answer, so it will be uniform. Now what are the demerits? Demerits are, it is not suitable for wider area. Suppose you need to ask 2000 people. Will you be able to ask each and every person personally? No. In that case, direct person interview cannot be possible. It is expensive because you have to travel places, you have to go to those places and personally meet them. So the transportation cost will occur. It is time consuming because at one time you can meet only one person. That's why it's time consuming. It requires trained personnel. Direct personal interview is not done by everybody. It is done by the trained person who can actually manage to have an interview with the respondent. So direct personal interview is that investigator collects data by having direct contact with the respondent. The merits and the demerits. Fine. Now let's come to the second one. Second one is indirect oral investigation. As the name suggests, indirect oral investigation. The investigator approaches third parties here. He doesn't go directly to the main witness. He goes to the third party, where the area of investigation is large and information is secret and sensitive. You have always seen in the movies and in the real life also that the police, they search for the third parties also. They go to their relatives, they go to their neighbors. So in that case, investigator approaches third parties, and also where area of investigation is large, where you need very small and minute details also. So in that case, the indirect oral investigation works, and also where the information is secret and sensitive. So indirect oral investigation works at that. Now, what are the merits of indirect oral investigation? The merits are, it covers wide coverage. Suppose the person is not available, but you have his neighbors, you have his relatives, you have his friends. So in that case, you can have the wide coverage. It is economical. Suppose that person is not in India, he is abroad. So you can come to his house, you can ask his parents, his families, his friends, his relatives. So it's economical in terms of time and money, and also free from bias. Because if you are asking to his parents, it's obvious that they will be giving the right information. There will be no bias. But when it comes to demerits, it's less accurate. The same parents can be saving that person, or his friends can be saving his friend from some trouble, so that police must not caught him. So in that case, they can provide you less accurate information. They can hide few minute things. Partiality of witness. Some witnesses, suppose your neighbors are your worst enemy. So neighbors, what they do, they just mix it up. They add someone else's story into someone else's story, and they just publish to the police. So in that case, partiality of the witness. Some witnesses can save that person, but in the other cases, they can give that person directly to the police that yes, he is the culprit, I knew it. So in that cases, partiality of the witness is also observed. And lack of uniformity. Suppose you went to 3 persons who are friends of that person. So in that case, all the 3 will be giving some different stories. They will add their own mix to that story. So there will be lack of uniformity, because you are not directly approaching that person. You are approaching their relatives, the friends, the families. So all these 3, the relatives, friends and families, they will give you the different scenario of that person. So in that case, you will have the lack of uniformity, and there can be partiality of the witness. The witness can obviously tell some good stories about that person. He will only tell the good, or the other relatives, that they will only tell the bad things of that person. So in that case, less accurate, partiality is there, and lack of uniformity. Now let's come to the third one, which is information from correspondence. Friends, let's talk about information from correspondent. Now, local agents are appointed here. Local agents are appointed and trained to collect the information. Suppose I am living in Delhi and I need to go to different places of Uttar Pradesh, of Bihar, of Jharkhand. So I won't be going in each and every place. I will appoint a local person. Suppose my friend is living in Uttar Pradesh, so I will ask him to please visit such and such person and bring out the information. So in that case, local agents, local personalities are appointed, and they are trained also. They are not just like, just please visit him. No, I will tell him, I will guide him that you have to bring this information by this method. You have to talk to them in this manner. You have to greet them, you have to meet them, you have to do such and such things, so that you can bring out the best information from that person. So they are trained, they are trained and they are appointed to collect the information. Now, the information for correspondent is used when the area of investigation is large. This is then used when the area of investigation is very large. You cannot go to each and every place. So you need some people so that they can help you to bring out the information for you. You know the meaning of correspondent. They help the investigator in the statistical inquiry. Now, what are the merits of information from correspondent? You can cover the wide coverage. It is suitable for special purposes. Suppose someone is very technical. He is techno-savvy. He know all the gadgets, all the information about the technology, and the person whom you need to have the feedback, he is also a techno-savvy. So you will ask that trained personnel, that trained agent who is good in technology. So for these special purposes, you can appoint these special agents who have the special training for these special purposes. And also it is economical. It saves money, it saves time, because the local agents will provide you the information and you don't need to visit places. Now, what are the demerits? Lack of uniformity, because there are different correspondents. All are not same. They have different mentalities. They have different mindset. So the information will not be uniform. They will be different scenarios. Danger of partiality. Sometimes the correspondent uses his own brain. He gives his own opinion about someone. So in that case, danger of partiality is always present in the information from correspondent. So danger of partiality. Third correspondent can be partial towards the informants. And lack of accuracy. Again, because there are so many correspondents, the data might be least accurate, or because you are not going directly. Suppose I am the investigator, but I have appointed the correspondent. Who will get the most suitable information? I will, na? But if I am sending the correspondent, he will not do his best job. I am the one who can do the best job. But still, because I need to consume my time, I need to be economical. So in that case, I will send the correspondent to do the work. So that's all for the information from correspondent. Let's come to the fourth one, which is telephonic interviews. Now students, let's start with the telephonic interviews. Now, here in the telephonic interviews, the data is collected through interview over the telephone or your mobile phone. So, data is collected through the interview over the telephone. The investigator does not meet directly with the informant. They have a conversation over the telephone. Now, this is used when the data is to be collected in a shorter duration. When you have very less time, you need the information in a very shorter duration, then this telephonic interview is suitable. Now, what are the merits? Wide coverage. You can contact the person when he is abroad the country. Still you can contact him, you can connect him, and you can have the information, and it is economical also. It saves times and it saves money. Now, what are the demerits? Limited use. You cannot use this every time. This is used only when you need the information in a shorter period. You cannot use this telephonic interview every time you need. No, you have to use it only when you need the information in a very shorter time period. That's why it is for the limited use. And visual feedback is not possible. Imagine I am giving you the lecture, only my audio is available. Only my audio is available. My gesture, my expressions, my notes, they are not visible to you. What will happen? You won't be understanding things. You won't be understanding things. Like in a video you are understanding so well, but in the audio you may not be understanding the whole information accurately. But the same thing goes here. In the telephonic interview, you can have the voice of the informant, you can have the audio feedback, you cannot have the visual feedback. So visual feedback is not possible in the telephonic interview. Let's come to the fifth one, which is mailed questionnaire. Now you know what is email? Have you ever mailed someone through Gmail or Yahoo? Now, what is mailed questionnaire? Under it, investigator makes a questionnaire. What is questionnaire? Questionnaire is a piece of paper or a document in which lots of questions. There are questions in a sequence, in a manner, in an ascending order, descending order, in any manner. There are questions which need to be filled by the informant or respondent. Now, investigator makes a questionnaire and send it to the respondents. That questionnaire is being prepared by the investigator and that is mailed by the investigator to the respondent. They all receive through their Gmail or Yahoo account and they just fill it and they mail it back to the informant. So that is the mailed questionnaire. Now, what are the merits of mailed questionnaire? It covers wide coverage. It has a very wide coverage and it saves times and money. So it is economical also and it maintains the secrecy. Suppose you have a personal account and you receive that questionnaire personally. Nobody has seen that. Only you are able to open that file or open that mail. So that maintains a secrecy. It's a good thing. Secrecy is a good thing. And there is no bias. There is no relative. There is no friend. There is no parent so that they can give the feedback. You are the one who is giving the feedback. So there is no bias also. Now, what are the demerits? It is less accurate. A face-to-face inquiry and a emailed inquiry, it is very different. Suppose you are at a restaurant and you are having a feedback form. Have you ever filled that honestly? Tell me. Close your eyes and tell me honestly that you have given the feedback wholeheartedly and honestly. No, you have not taken that piece of paper seriously. You filled some questions for fun. Same goes with this mailed questionnaire. The person who is supposed to fill that form, he does not take some of the questions seriously. So in that case, he is not giving the right answers. So it is less accurate. Lack of interest. Sometimes he lost his interest. He is busy somewhere else. He doesn't want to fill the form right now. But still, if you need, he will give it with lack of interest. So lack of interest is also found. Respondent should be literate. Suppose you have sent that mail to the person who is illiterate. Will he be able to give you the feedback? No, he won't. So respondent should be literate also. So it is a demerit. An illiterate person cannot have the mailed questionnaire. Now the last one, which is questionnaire filled by the enumerators. Students, the last one is questionnaire filled by enumerators. Now, enumerators personally visits informants along with the questionnaires. Now, the investigator will appoint the enumerators that will bring that questionnaire along with themselves, and they will personally meet the respondent. Enumerators personally visit the informants along with the questionnaire which is being prepared by which is being made by the investigator. Now, what are the merits? The merits of questionnaire filled by enumerators is that it is accurate, because the enumerators will just exactly fill the data which is received by the enumerator from the respondent. Whatever they are replying, whatever they are giving the response, they will just note it down. And it is reliable. It is reliable because whatever they are saying, he is noting it down in a very proper manner. That's why questionnaires filled by enumerator is reliable, because the enumerator is personally visiting the informants. Now, better response. Sometimes the enumerator will help them that sometimes the question is not understood by the respondents, but in that case the enumerator will help them, will guide them how to reply. Now, useful for illiterate respondents. It is also useful for illiterate respondent. Here in the mail questionnaire, the respondent, if they were illiterate, they were not able to fill it up. But here, if there are illiterate respondent, they still can use that questionnaire which can be filled by the enumerators. Now, what are the demerits? First of all, it is very costly because enumerators are personally visiting the informant. They are going, so it will take some time and it will have some transportation cost. So, the traveling will become costly. Now, it is time consuming because the enumerators are visiting personally to their homes. Somebody is living in Kerala, so you need to go to Kerala, and then lots of time will be consumed. And it could be partial. Sometimes enumerators give their own opinion. They become biased towards the respondent. So in that case, some sort of partiality, or they can become biased in some scenarios. Now students, that's all for today. Now I want you to take a screenshot, a very neat and clean screenshot, so that you can complete your notes. Pause this video and take a screenshot. Fine. You all have taken the screenshot. Now students, that's all for today. You have completed the methods of collecting primary data, which is direct personal interview, indirect oral investigation, the information from correspondent, telephonic interviews, mailed questionnaires, and questionnaires filled by the enumerators. So students, that's all for this video. We'll see you in the next video. See you soon.